Well, hey kids, welcome back to the channel. Rio here. Today is Wednesday, so of course today is the next in my series of film reviews. This is the holiday series I've been doing. Today we're going to talk about a film from 2005 called Santa's Slay.
Santa's Slay.
Okay, so this movie came out, as I said, 2005, from Media 8 Entertainment. I've said before in this series that a lot of the films I'm going to cover, some of them will not be family friendly. This film is not family friendly. This film is a hard R rating. And it is an earned rating. But it is also hilarious. What we're looking at in this one is that Santa wasn't always Santa. Santa is a demon.
According to the Book of Claus, Santa, Satan's only son, lost a bet and was forced to spread Christmas cheer. But now, all bets are off.
He was not always a kind and jolly man. In fact, he had one day each year, that he went and committed atrocities. And the terms of the bet were that Santa had to spend 1,000 years, where instead of his night of atrocities, he had to basically do community service, right? He had to be Santa. So 1,000 years go by and he's doing this. Well, we come into the story in a town called Hell Township. They don't say where, what state this town is in. Context clues could give you some idea of where it's supposed to be. But you'd be wrong, because it was filmed in Canada. Now, in this town, we have a couple characters that we're following. A couple of them which are, it's a boy named Nicholas and his grandfather. And his grandfather is kind of the town eccentric. He's not a fan of Christmas at all. A lot of the town thinks he's kind of, because of he's so anti-Christmas.
I want the truth about Christmas.
If it's the truth you want, then it's the scary truth you're gonna have.
We come into this finding out that this year is 1001. The terms of the bet have now ended. And, well, Santa goes right back to his old gig.
Ho, ho, hoes.
So, let's talk about the people responsible for this, shall we? Our writer and director is named David Steinman. This is his directorial debut. In fact, as far as I could find, this was his only directing credit. Okay. However, previous to this, he had worked on a lot of other projects, including Rush Hour 2, the live-action Inspector Gadget, and Castaway. So he definitely had put his time in other productions before he did this one. Okay. Just keep that in mind. Our score is done by a man named Haring Lohner. You would know his work. He is actually an award-winning composer. He did worked on the score for The Ring 2, the American version of The Ring. And what else we got? And a lot of stuff that I could barely mention, but I will mention Blood Rain. Our director of photography is Matthew F. Leonetti. You have seen his work before. This guy's got a pretty decent pedigree. Among other things, Strange Days, The Butterfly Effect, Star Trek Insurrection, and the remake of Dawn of the Dead from 2004, I believe it was. Yeah, 2004. So that's our director of photography. That's our cinematographer. Okay, so you've got a pretty nice collection of talented people right here to bring you this farce. The special effects really matter here. So there's a lot of people credited. And I'm not quite sure who to focus on. There was something in the film credits about a company called Black Dragon Technologies. I tried to look them up, and I found something that was not related in any way to entertainment or special effects. So maybe their company doesn't exist anymore. Maybe that was a name created solely for this production. I do not know. But they are responsible for, among other things, what we call the Hell Deer, which is the evil Santa's reindeer. They're not reindeer, they're buffalo. And there's live buffalo that are actually being used. Their names are Ronnie and Apache. And they put horns and stuff on them. And there was also animatronic ones that are used for certain sequences. So I believe this is the company that was responsible for that. One of the people that I saw listed was listed as the head fabricator. So I'm assuming he probably had something to do with that as well. This head fabricator is named Michael Dale. Michael Dale, you would have seen his work in X2, X-Men United, and iRobot. But I'm imagining he probably had a lot to do with the design of like Santa's sled as well. Santa's sled is like a Viking longboat. But it has like these steampunk elements. There is so much cool stuff to look at in this movie. Okay, so let me not get distracted by that. And under the FX, one of the names I saw listed was Neil Krause. Neil Krause worked on Ginger Snaps Back. So yeah, great movie. I love that movie. And of course, Shanghai Nights.
Go ahead, kid. Let's see what Santa's got you.
I hate children.
All right, let's talk cast. This is going to take a minute. Okay, so talking about cast, okay? We start with Santa. Santa, who is being played by former WCW champion Bill Goldberg. Yes. We've seen him in other movies, of course. He was in Universal Soldier 2 and some other stuff. It's not like he hasn't acted before. But he is the main character here, and he is so funny in this. And of course, one advantage of having a wrestler, you know, a professional wrestler in your cast is that they can do a lot of their own stunts. Now, don't get me wrong. The list for the stunt performers on this movie is huge. And I want to segue a little bit, just really quick, talking about Goldberg. I would like to segue to the costume designer that did the Santa look for him. Her name is Victoria Alf. You would have seen her work on the series The Tick. You would have seen her in the series of Supergirl. She does really amazing work. The design for Santa is beautiful. I mean, it's Goldberg. You recognize him. No two ways around it. But, geez, the details on this costume design. I do not know if Miss Alf has ever won awards for her costume design, but she should. Because the details on this thing, the fit of this thing, glorious.
I'm just trying to spread a little Yuletide fear.
Okay, so moving on to some of our other characters. So, of course, we have Grandpa. Grandpa is being played by the late Robert Culp. Robert Culp, of course, who passed away in 2010. But you would know him. You would know him from I Spy back in the 60s. You would know him from, The Greatest American Hero, actually. If you remembers the show, The Greatest American Hero, that was him. Robert Culp was in a million things. He has credits going all the way back into the early 50s. So that is Grandpa. And then we have the grandson, Nicholas. And Nicholas is being played by an actor named Douglas Smith. He's, again, has a million credits listed. Other more fascinating ones, he was in Joan of Arcadia. He appeared in one of the Percy Jackson movies. Just a little, this might not be a spoiler now because it'll probably have aired by the time this goes up, but he will be appearing in Superman and Lois, the TV series, as Jimmy Olsen. And apropos of nothing, he also appeared in the movie Blast from the Past with Brendan Fraser. He played the 11-year-old version of Brendan Fraser in the movie. So he's been around for a while.
Nicholas shot him!
You shot Santa?
Run away! Santa's on the loose!
Then we have Nicholas's girlfriend, Mackenzie, or Mac. She's a really fun character in this, okay? She ends up getting roped into all this weirdness. She's actually being played by Emily DeRaven. Beastmaster 99. She was in The Hills Have Eyes 2006, the series Roswell, and probably easily recognizable to a whole lot of people as Claire from the series Lost.
Santa Claus is not a myth or a legend. He's real. Only he's not bearing gifts and presents anymore.
Now, as far as the rest of our cast of characters go, there's a lot of them. This is supposed to be, Hell Township is kind of a small-ish kind of mountain town. Okay, so you figure there might only be 1,000 or so people that live there. There are endless cameos. Endless. Absolutely endless. It seems like everybody who has ever done work in movies, television, or theater called up this guy and said, "Hey, you busy?" and rolled through and got a line.
Santa?
Yes, there is a Santa Claus.
In just the opening sequence alone, okay, the first 10 minutes of the movie, You get Fran Drescher from The Nanny. You get James Caan. You get Chris Kattan from Saturday Night Live. This is just in the first 10 minutes. And it doesn't stop from there. I'm just going to give you a list and tell you what you would know them from. And then you can figure out who they are in the movie when you get there, okay? So we have Saul Rubinek from Warehouse 13. We have Dave Thomas from Second City Television. Bob and Doug McKenzie? Yes, that's him. He's in there. We have Kristen Fraser from Brokeback Mountain. We have King Lao from the live action Mulan. There's a couple of these cameos that I do want to call out specifically because they were ones that made me particularly happy. One of them is there's a gas station attendant that we have a brief encounter with. He's played by Thomas Lister Jr., also known as Tiny Lister. Tiny Lister, you have seen him in a million things. He was in The Fifth Element. He was in Austin Powers and Goldmember. He was in Little Nicky. He was also, for a time, a WCW and WWF wrestler, because it was WWF back then. He was a wrestler on the circuit with them as well. The guy was a good 6'40". You can't miss him. You can't miss him. His little moments in this movie are really funny. Unfortunately, Tiny did pass away in 2020. Another one I want to mention is a character named Jimmy Herman. What's the actor's name is Jimmy Herman. I don't remember what the character's name was off the top of my head right now. But you'll know him when you see him. Jimmy Herman was a First Nations actor from Canada. Has had quite the career for himself, playing Native American characters. You would know him from films like Reindeer Games, Dances with Wolves. And he plays a character here that's probably a little questionable, but still funny. And unfortunately, Mr. Herman has also passed away. He passed away in 2013.
This can sure scare the dickens out of people.
He's scary yet educational.
Like I said in the beginning of this thing, this is definitely not a movie for kids. Like, at all. There is violence, there is nudity, there is lewd content, there's a lot of questionable stuff that goes on in this movie. But this movie is a friggin' favorite of mine. I mean, I love Goldberg. You know what I mean? I was a big fan, in the day for professional wrestling. So, of course, I know exactly who he is. But he's really good in this. Not a lot of wrestlers can make that jump to acting and have anything really good come out of it.
Oh, Grandpa got run over by a reindeer.
Goldberg does a really good job in this. He's funny. His presence is perfect. His deliveries are great. You're going to love that. Just please be prepared that this film is very inappropriate from beginning to end. I do gotta mention there's a little Rankin Bass-esque sequence at one point in the movie, and the first time I saw it, I couldn't stop laughing during the whole thing because I'm like the world's third biggest Rankin Bass nerd, and so this little fakey Rankin Bass sequence they put in there it took me in. It did me in. But yeah, guys, I think you'll like this one. It's fun. If you're into any kind of like the Killer Santa type movies, if you like things like Silent Night, Deadly Night, this kind of stuff, this is in the same category. It's just funnier. This is a straight comedy, no two ways around it. And I don't think it's trying to offend anybody. I think it's just trying to be funny. And I think it succeeds in being funny. So hopefully you guys will check that one out. But yeah, okay. I guess that's it for me for this week. There's a like and subscribe button over here somewhere on the bottom. You can hit that and you can get notifications of when my next reviews go up. I still got a few more to come in this holiday series. I'm going to be going through the new year. So I'm going to be pulling stuff that's like from my collection, stuff that I feel is maybe not as well known, but that I think is very interesting to watch. And again, not all of this is going to be kid friendly. So just keep that in mind. And I guess that'll do it for me. So I guess I'll see you guys next time. And bye.